And right now I'm really happy to welcome Rachel, who will also share her story via Skype. Rachel, please start whenever you're ready and comfortable.
Thank you. And so my abortion story starts in June of 2015. My husband and I had recently gotten married, and we found out that we were pregnant, and we were really excited because we wanted to start a family right away. And around our 15, 16 weeks, I had a blood test that came back inconclusive. And so they ordered another blood test, and that one came back saying everything was fine. So I was really excited to start telling friends and family that we were expecting. And then we went in for a 20-week ultrasound. And during that 20-week ultrasound, I remember the ultrasound tech asking if my blood work had come back okay. And it's my first pregnancy, so I assumed that was a normal question. And I said yes. And then she said, well, I have to get the doctor. And so the doctor came in and told us that we were seeing some abnormalities with the ultrasound. And I just remember at the time just feeling like somebody had taken all of the wind out of me, and I didn't really know what to say. And she said, well, we're getting conflicting information, so we're going to refer you to a perinatal specialist. And so by the time I could get in with the perinatal specialist, I was about 23 weeks pregnant. And they found some additional problems during that ultrasound. They couldn't find our son's stomach. They couldn't find his kidneys. He had multiple other issues. They were looking at his heart to see if that was working. And they decided to do an amniocentesis to get a more conclusive result. And by the time the amniocentesis would be back, I would be about 26 weeks, because this was also Thanksgiving holiday, so that added to the extra time frame. And so over the next couple days, I called the doctor several times asking about diagnosis and prognosis, and he essentially told me that if our son did survive birth, if the both of us did survive birth, that it was most likely that my son would either die after birth or from a complication from surgery, if he was able to breathe on his own and all of those things. And so it just became very obvious to me that my son would suffer. And I just didn't feel like that was something that I could ask him to do for me. And so we decided, my husband and I talked about it and decided that we would get an abortion. And our doctor was thankfully very supportive. However, I live in Missouri, and so I was unable to get an abortion because I was now 25 weeks pregnant. And so he told me he can't perform the abortion, that he would have to refer me to another doctor out of state. So I called Dr. Hearn's office in Colorado, and he was able to schedule the abortion for the week after Thanksgiving. So again, I had to wait another week because of Thanksgiving holiday. And my husband and I had to drive 10 hours to receive health care. And so I had to stay in a hotel and went through the abortion procedure, which at 26 weeks is about 4 days long. And I delivered my son alone and went back to my hotel room after, and then a couple days after that drove back to Missouri and was back at work on Monday morning. And we also had to take out a loan to cover the procedure because in Missouri, your insurance is not allowed to cover abortions. There's also only 4 abortion providers who perform abortions that late term, and they are not covered by insurance. So we took out a loan with our bank to cover the cost of the procedure. And I just tell my story because not all abortions are a black and white issue, because they are healthcare, because they needed healthcare, and because of the laws in my state, I was unable to attain that healthcare, and I had to drive to a different state and deliver my son by myself instead of surrounded by friends and family. And also because there's such a horrible stigma around late-term abortions. I essentially underwent something called fetal demise, and then I On the final day of the procedure on Friday, I had an assisted delivery, and nobody ripped a baby out of me. There was no trauma. It was exactly like delivering a baby, except I knew the baby that I was delivering wouldn't survive.
Thank you, Rachel, for sharing your story. That was powerful, and I'm very grateful.